Arrested Development es una de las grandes comedias que nos regaló la televisión, que sí, no terminó de la mejor manera, no terminó tan arriba como había empezado, pero así todo nos regaló grandiosos momentos y pude hablar con uno de sus protagonistas. Hablé con Justin Lee, el encargado de interpretar a Annyong, que me contó qué fue lo que cambió su casting, qué fue lo que modificó del papel que él se tuviera que sumar a este trabajo y qué recuerdos tiene de trabajar con todo este elenco de una increíble serie llamada Arrested Development.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
That was pretty much my first big TV job, and I had no idea what a professional set it was because I had nothing else to compare it to.
Yeah.
So this was all very new to me. I was new to set, but it was one of the most amazing experiences, and I'm very fortunate that I got to start off there and not on a bad set, because starting off there gave me such a good taste of the industry in my mouth. I had such a good experience that, from that point on, I was pretty much addicted.
Who's that?
Annyong. This is Annyong, who your father and I have adopted.
Well, I'm gone for a couple of days and you find a new son?
Annyong doesn't have that many lines.
Yeah, that's...
Right?
Yeah.
At least in the first season. There's some more lines later, but the first season, all they had was Annyong. So they couldn't have me come in and only say Annyong. So they gave me that one line, but then they gave me a scene with George Michael. It's Michael Cera's character. Yeah. They gave me one of his scenes to read, where they're making the cornball and they keep burning themselves. So it's a very intimate scene. And so they had us read that. Originally, the character Annyong is supposed to be, they wanted people that were over 18. So a lot of the actors in the waiting room were all 18 and over. I was the only one that was 14 at the time, but I probably looked about 8 years old. So when I went in, I read for them. They liked it. That same day, they said, okay, we want you to come to a callback. It's like, okay, so we stuck around. I went to the callback. I read it with the casting director. They liked it. And there's just a few actors left now. And I get into the room, and I just remember reading with them, and I remember them laughing at me constantly. And now that I think about it, I was like, this is a very heartwarming, intimate scene. I wonder why they were laughing at me. But I guess they liked what I did. So they decided, you know what? We'll hire him, even though he doesn't look 18, but the character will still be 18. And that will be the joke. Honestly, they didn't worry about it. They really wanted it to seem like I wasn't 18. I think they really liked that. They think that was the joke. That was the surprise, right? So that when people find out he's 18, they go, oh my gosh, right? Asian people really don't age. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely no purse that will go with this outfit. Got a little pocket there, Annyong. Annyong. That's not getting old.
I was just so happy to be there. That it was more than just the lines. I looked at every opportunity as acting. For me, I felt like the camera was always on me. So I felt like I was always acting, even if I wasn't giving any lines.
Yeah.
And I really learned that lesson because my mom was sitting with the director and the writer, and she was sitting with Mitch, and I wasn't talking in this scene, right? It was just a scene between Michael Bluth and Lucille. And so I'm sitting there. There are no lines, but I'm sitting there watching them talk to each other. And I remember my mom telling me after, saying they really, really liked and shake their head that you were looking back and forth at them. And I never thought about that. It just seemed like, you're in the moment. I would be paying attention to them. It's so very simple. Most people would probably do that. But at that moment, I learned. I was like, it was almost a reinforcement of that. Oh, okay, yeah, you do. Even though you don't have lines, you're acting, and you got to make the most of it.
You didn't let me play soccer as a child. Why should I have to sit and cheer Annyong? Annyong never cheers me.
Go fatty. Stop it!
I mean, Tony's amazing. He really is one of the. I mean, he's a wonderful, beautiful man. He's one of the kindest people I've ever met. And you would never think of it because our characters are always fighting. But no, he did a lot of things to make me feel very comfortable. So when I would first come on set, he would hang out with me. He would play games with me. And, I didn't realize that. But and once you become older and you're an adult actor, you look back at those times and go, oh, man, he really went out of his way to make sure that I was comfortable. And I think because he did that, it made our scenes a lot better. You know, I think it made me very comfortable to be mean and aggressive with him because I knew he actually liked me in real life.
Seal, meanwhile, was growing closer to her recently adopted Korean son, whom she called Annyong,
Better, Annyong.
which isn't a name,
Annyong.
but the Korean word for hello.
And what about the haircut that you had for almost your whole, from 14 to, I don't know, 18 maybe? How was that haircut for you? How did it work?
Yeah, imagine going to high school and trying to ask girls to date you with that kind of haircut. Imagine how hard that is.
Even
doesn't matter if you're on TV. So, no, it was good. It was, the funny story about that is, on the first day of set, so they call that a bowl cut, right?
Yeah.
So on the first day of set, the way they cut my hair is they really put a bowl on my head. And they just cut right around it. And that's how they did it. That's how they did the haircut. Now, for the fourth season, they didn't. I think they're like, okay, he's way too old now. He's in his 20s, you know. Let's not give him a bowl cut. Let's just give him a wig. So they gave me a wig on season 4. You know, that way I could get other work.
Well, I know it was someone in this family.
Or someone who used to be.
Anya.
How was the night that you read that script and you figured out that you were the bad guy to the blue? How was that?
I loved it. It was so much fun. I had no idea that that's how they were going to go with it. I mean, you never know. A lot of times our scripts were coming in, you know, we'd have new scripts right before shooting. You know, they were writing till the end. And so, I mean, I didn't get that script till the day before set. So they must have written that literally the day before set. And it was at the Queen Mary. And I didn't even know that I was going to be on that episode, to be honest. You know, it was the season finale. I thought it was just going to be done. And so I didn't expect to go back that day. But Jessica Walter, who plays Lucille, she also, I mean, everyone on that set's really wonderful. But she really pushed for me to be on that last episode. And she really asked all the writers and said, you know, we really need to bring him back on for this episode. He really needs to be in it. So whether they already had that in mind, you know, I appreciate what she did, and I wasn't in that writer's room, so, but it is possible that she may have influenced me to come out as that surprise, you know, as the mole.
Annyong? Annyong, but my real name is Hello.
Hello?
Annyong.
What the hell did you do this for?
I think Arrested Development caught a lot more attention after it was canceled. You know, there were people that were watching it. I had some people in school that came up to me. And if you were watching it at that time, you were a big fan. If you were watching it while it was on Fox, you were a big, big fan. And so I would have guys all the time come up to me and say, like, how was it working on sets? Or they'd be yelling Annyong at me. At that time, the college demographic was really, really, I think, the biggest demographic watching Arrested Development on Fox. When it was on Fox, I think most of the people watching it were in college. And so the interesting thing that I got was my cousin worked at UCI. It's a college campus in Irvine. And she worked in the bookstore. And so she had to load up things into the store all the time, you know, clothes, books, things like that. And she remembered she got a box. And when she opened the box, there was a bunch of shirts that she had to hang up for sale. But then she looked down at it and she's like, that's Justin on the shirt. What? And so on the shirt, it was my face behind bars, and it said "Free Annyong." And so these shirts were selling all over at different universities. And so I remember my cousin would have a lot of people walking in to buy that shirt, and she'd be like, "Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's my cousin." And I remember she called me right away. It was a pretty funny story.
Hello.
Yes, Annyong. Your name's Annyong. We all know you're Annyong. Annyong, Annyong, Annyong.
Who's this?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Annyong.
Annyong.